Hey there, YouTube. It's AltoSax31, and we're back with the next episode of the Let's Play series. We're kicking off with mission number 9 today, and we start off on the bridge after having just defeated Credo in a very mediocre fashion, I'll call it. But hey, we came away with the win. So when you start off on this mission, you are still on the bridge. You want to go into this next room and just make sure you destroy all of the destroyable objects in that room, which is a couple little desks and some half wall thingies. So just make sure you take care of those out. And then the next area, you're going to fight some Angelos with an Alto Angelo leading them. And as I've said before, they can be a little more troublesome when they get an Alto Angelo in the mix. So you definitely want to try and take one of them out as soon as possible, because they can catch you off guard. And so with the Bianco Angelos, you definitely want to try and get behind him. Pretty susceptible, and we make quick work of him. And so at this point in the fight, it's just me and the Alto Angelo left. So again, as I've stated before, charge shot 3 is pretty much invaluable when it comes to these kinds of fights. You'll see here in a second that it pretty much saves me, or it did save me. I was basically about to fall down. Had I not shot him, he would have timed his swipe at me pretty good, and he would have knocked me out and basically gotten rid of a gold orb. So it comes in handy when you definitely need it. Now when you enter the next area, the forum area, there's a training statue which you want to make sure to knock out pretty quickly. You do need to get a combo of at least the combo meter up to an S before you knock it out. So how you do it is up to you. It doesn't take me too long, but I am pretty used to them at this point in the game. So before you head on over to the next part, you want to make sure to get these benches. They are a little on the shorter side, so I don't think you can shoot them. So you do have to go up to each one and try and swipe them. And lastly, before you leave this area, you want to make sure you go to this part of the map, or the room, because there are some secret orbs. And then you just make sure you hit these 2 bases right before you enter this next part of right before the cutscene. And then, to make things a lot easier, I would just do the caliber in the air and just projects you forward, I guess. Yeah. Now, in this part of the room, this is where you fight definitely a lot of Gladiuses and some Angelos. So, my preference on this fight would be to take out the Gladiuses first, just because they're kind of flying around all the time. You definitely don't want to leave them lingering around so they can hit you while the camera's, looking away or something. So in this fight, you're going to see me doing charge shot and just jumping around a lot. This is just to kind of get near them, shoot them, take them out, at least until they stop respawning, and then I can focus on the Angelos. And if you can, trying to manage some damage output between the Angelos, because you definitely don't want them running wild too. So it's definitely a lot of chaos going on all at the same time, and you're really gonna have to take down these enemies one by one until it's a little bit more manageable. So at this point, we've taken out all the Gladiuses, and now it's just 3-on-1, which is still not favorable odds, considering that there's an Alto Angelo. But as with the other fight at the beginning of the mission, you just want to take them on one by one and pretty much just neutralize the other Angelos and leave this one for last if possible. So camera angle kind of messes me up right there, but we take care of that Angelo, and that should be the last one. And so I don't know if you noticed there, but I did hit him with the double trigger where he popped up into the air and I was able to grab him. If you can time that perfectly, it's a really, really handy trick that makes taking them out pretty easily. So once you're done fighting them, you are able to grab the key of Cronus, which slows down time apparently when you insert into this little object. It comes in real handy the next time you come back down this room. So, but I think that is covered in the next mission. But we'll definitely make sure to bring that up again. And if you don't know about that, I don't know how, but there is that little secret area, so make sure to grab that. Right before we find our way back to our familiar blue mechanism friend, which we will definitely see more of in the future. So once you're done there, you want to just make sure you go into this elevator and fight the scarecrows. Very lowly scarecrows. Now, looking back and reviewing this video, I think of so many different ways I could have handled them, especially with them all clumped up together like this. But, you know, we do a couple combos and do some damage output on them. It's pretty good. However, a little stylish more would have been to do the showdown while in Devil Trigger, but I tend to be on the more conservative side for my Devil Trigger during these playthroughs. And so once you take care of those regular scarecrows, you do fight the bigger ones. If you've noticed by now, there's only 2 of them, so I'm tending to focus on just this one, and meanwhile just doing Charge Shot 3 on the other one to kind of keep them at bay. And do a pretty good job of managing them both. Alright. And so this is where the Key of Cronus comes in really handy. You can slow down these laser beams. You can just skip that first one. And for this one, this is really the only one to be concerned with. You just push up against the fence and wait for it to pass. Now, before you enter this elevator, you can click on that other little chrono box, I guess we'll call it. And it gives you a little bit of an edge here when you fight these frost, where it slows down for the first, I don't know, 5 seconds or so. But just enough to get a quick attack on them without them being able to react. And so I do manage to let one slip away for just a second, long enough for him to get an attack on me, but luckily I avoid it. So definitely right here you have to attack and then just evade, because usually one will be getting ready to attack you every few seconds, so you can't linger around too long with them. And he's pretty much done now. He's got no buddies. Yep. And that's it. Alright, I'm gonna get to do one more set of wire fences, or laser fences, laser beams. Now this part is it can be a little tricky, but if you just time it right, you can just literally run right through it. Make sure to grab that chrono box, and then you get a little bit of an edge again. And this time it's on some assaults, so you can do the streak attack. You can do pretty much a variety of different attacks that kind of get an edge up on them at the beginning. But you know, in my eyes, conserving your double trigger is one of the key factors to being successful in this mission. So it's definitely something I would recommend. Alright, so at this point we've taken out 2 assaults. There should be only one more. Yeah, I think he's the only one for sure. However, once you defeat that last one, don't get too comfortable, because we are being visited by our good friend Blitz. And with Nero, he's not too hard, but it seems the only way you can really do any damage to him while he has his lightning shield is with Charge Shot 3. I know you can do the double trigger burst next to him, but I really don't like the idea of being too close to him, because that can happen. So I got too comfortable. If you notice, whenever he attacks, he teleports right afterwards. So seeing as he had attacked already, I thought he wasn't going to attack anymore, and he basically got me. So we do get him back for this by basically not letting him attack anymore. A good strategy is just to attack him, do the buster grab on him, attack him again, do the buster grab. If you time it correctly, you can actually throw him up in the air and then grab him up while in the air and basically finish him off that way. But I don't get it, but we still finish him, so job well done. And we got one more level to do with the elevator, and that is it. No more laser fences, at least for this part of the mission. And you want to make sure you get your act gauge all the way up because you do fight Agnus in this next part. And right off the back, he does start swinging at you. So definitely want to evade at first. Now, at this part, you want to try and do some damage. Going in hindsight, you definitely want to try and be in double trigger, at least a little bit, you know, at this point in the fight when you're attacking them. Because a lot of these objects, they do give you little white orbs, which replenish your double trigger gauge. And then when you damage these enemies, they do give you some white orbs, such as that. So right here, I should have gone double trigger, but I wasn't aware. So thankfully, I can give that tip to you guys. So this way, you can get a pretty good amount of damage on him. As you can see, without double trigger, I did a pretty good chunk right off the back. So, you know, who knows how much more you guys could do. So at this point, it's basically just waiting for another opening. I can't tell you guys how many times this move, you know, ruined my playthrough. But that double trigger trick, you know, comes in handy once again. So it really comes down to timing on that one. To this day, I have not found another method to try and avoid it. So you definitely just got to get lucky, get timed. So at this point, we get him to where he's staggered, and we do the buster move, and he is donezo. And if you do it correctly, you could potentially end up with the trophy where you beat a boss with the triple S. I think on this playthrough, I got all of them except for Credo, which is kind of a bummer, but it's no biggie. So if you definitely take the tips from this video, you should end up with all S's. Almost perfect, except that I got hit a few times, but we did good, and I hope this translates well over in your playthrough, and I'll see you guys on the next one.